sound that you think there's no possible way they can replicate that in concert.
Yeah.
And then they get up there and do it. And they are amazing. They're just, dude, they're amazing, man.
Cool.
If you ever have the opportunity, you should go see, it'll come to me. The band that tours doing Christmas rock.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
The Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
I've seen them several times.
Tom Schultz in Boston are on a level of rock sophistication with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh, absolutely.
And there are very few bands you can say that about. Most of them just get up there and jam, and you have lots of feedback. And dude,
they do a very professional rock show.
There are 6 keyboards on that stage.
Yeah, and I've seen them play all 6 of them at one time.
At 6 different places. I'm not talking about Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I'm talking about Boston.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Boston. I mean, there were 6 different keyboards on different places of the stage that different members of the band played at different times.
Oh, okay.
Yes. To this day, Tom Schultz still does everything analog. Still plays a Hammond B3 organ. Everything is still corded, tubed. Dude.
It's amazing. There's a big community for that sort of stuff, that analog stuff.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it, but
I don't either. It's got such warmth to it, so they tell me. And I'm going, yeah, but when you record it, it's at 192 kilobits and sounds like garbage, but okay.
Unless you're listening to it on very, very sophisticated sound systems or headphones or speakers, you don't tell the difference.
Right, which is why I don't understand the vinyl thing. Like, vinyl, it just sounds better. No, it doesn't. If you have a really nice sound system, sure, but otherwise, it's not going to sound as good as the digital version. They'll probably sound the same. The digital version might even sound better, depending on what kind of record player you have and what your sound system sounds like.
Yeah, depending on the record player and the needle and the speakers.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're listening to it on, the earbuds that came with your phone, you're never going to know.
No.
But you got all these people who are just elitist about vinyl. And it's like, okay, man, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. All right. You ready to get going?
Do it.
All right. Counting down in 3, 2, 1.
What is up? I'm Pat.
I am Sean.
And this is the 6 Months Behind podcast, where we talk about all the books that came out this week, the week of August 1st, on Marvel Unlimited, exactly 6 months ago today. The email is
6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That is the number 6 months behind @gmail.com.
The website is www.sixmonthsbehind.com. I lost my train of thought. It just completely jumped the track, and when we do that, like a minute in, it's all going to be downhill. Good week for comic books, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I just finished a D&D session. We had a good time.
Well, there you go. I've been watching Suits, so I can try and get up to season 7, which is airing now on USA Today. So I had a good time too.
What is Suits?
It's a law firm.
Oh,
it's a USA Today show.
Oh, that sounds like a boring old person show.
Not a USA Today show. No, it's actually quite good actually.
Okay.
And then I watched tonight. I'm gonna run to finishing this week's episode of Mr. Robot. Now, dude, there's a great show.
Yeah, you keep telling me about it, and I haven't watched it yet, but I need to. I really need to.
You everybody out there, I encourage you. Season 1 is on the USA Network website, or you can stream it on Amazon, and then season 2 is on the USA website. That is an amazing show. It would just blow your mind week after week.
Yeah, I'm going to make my way through the 2nd season of Rick and Morty, and then I'll probably start Mr. Robot.
Rick and Morty?
It's an animated show by Dan Harmon. If you are you familiar with Adventure Time?
No.
Okay. Well, if you took Adventure Time and shoved it up Back to the Future's butt, that's basically what you have, with a lot of crude language and jokes. But also, it can be a really thought-provoking television show.
And where do we find this?
I think it airs on Adult Swim, but I watch it on Hulu.
Okay, Hulu. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, just to let you guys know before we dive into these comic books this week, because we have plenty of stuff to talk about, we do talk about the minor plot points of these books. So if you have not read them, there may be some light spoilers. We do try to keep it, big stuff under wraps. We're not going to reveal that, Iron Man dies in this issue or whatever. That doesn't happen. I'm just saying. But we do discuss the plot points. So if you do not want spoilers of any kind, come back after you've read the books.
There you go.
And with that, we're going to start with our Spider-Man books this week. We had Spider-Man #1. Now,
yes, go ahead.
This is different from Amazing Spider-Man #1, which is the Peter Parker book. This is just Spider-Man #1, and this series follows Miles Morales,
who I thought already had his own series, but there's so many Spider books out there. Apparently, I was confused, and he did not. So there you go.
Yeah, you got Brian Michael Bendis writing it. Who's doing the art? Is it the same guy that was doing it?
Yeah, it's the team that created Miles Morales. So it's Brian Michael Bendis and I can't get there. Oh, Sarah Pichelli.
Okay, it's good art.
It's good art, and this is a good story. This is a very good story.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the first issue, so it's a lot of how it's not so much character introduction because we know the character, but it's kind of how we got here. And
it starts with the bang, and then you kind of back up a few hours to how you get to the bang, and then it ends with a bang, and then it ends with another bang. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what you have is the Avengers are fighting a guy, and it doesn't go well, and Miles Morales steps in and finishes them off. And then you have a interesting ending. But before all that, there's a discussion about why he's doing terribly in school and how he, the typical Spider-Man thing. Teenager trying to balance school and a social life and, pissing off the women that he's trying to date because he stood him up for 5 hours and she's mad, but he really just saved the world, but he can't tell her that. And yeah.
I guess it's the fact that I will be 52 in a few weeks, and I've been reading comics for 45 years. Then I'm just over the whole teenage thing, man. I'd just rather read Deadpool and the Mercs for Money or Captain Marvel or I don't know, man. Invincible Iron Man. I mean, I'm just over these whole teenage books. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. And I know they're not all written for me, but dude, I'm just over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a target for that younger audience. If you want a more mature Spider-Man, you get it with the Peter Parker books.
And by the way, why is he hitting on women? I thought Miles Morales was gay.
No.
I thought he was.
Nope. That's that. As far as I know, that's never been a thing.
Okay. I thought it was.
Yeah. No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Yes. Anyway, that's the only Spider-Man book we've got this week, but we do have a couple of X-Men books. X-Men Worst X-Men Ever #4.
Before the show started, I glanced at this book, skimmed the pages. It's got an interesting ending to #4. This is #4 of a 5-issue limited series. Can we all say thank you for it being a limited series? And it's got an interesting ending. I don't know.
You just don't care. Okay. Well, just to let you know, I didn't read it. I didn't read the last issue either. So.
Well, you might want to look at the last page of this issue, and maybe it would make you go back and read the last two.
I intend to go back and read them because I actually enjoyed this series. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I liked it okay. I just haven't. I know how you feel about it, so I just skipped it. And I was correct for time this week in terms of reading comic books, so I had to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Uncanny X-Men number 3. Didn't we get an Uncanny X-Men last week?
Yes.
What's up with that?
Talk about it, and I'll tell you.
Well, I mean, the shipping schedule was. Is that how they shipped them out when they published them in print?
Yes.
Okay.
You gave me time to pull up the shipping dates. Yes, that's how they published them in print.
So, are we getting Uncanny X-Men every week, or was it just one of those things where they're going to pump out a couple issues to begin with to get readers interested, and then pull back to like once a month?
Marvel is doing that with a lot of these all new, all different books.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they roll them out, and you get like an issue, then 2 weeks, and then you get an issue, and maybe even a third issue within another 2 weeks, and then they get on a monthly schedule. And I'm not sure why they're doing that, but they're I don't know. I do not understand, but
yeah, go ahead.
It makes for unusual reading, but it does help them launch this universe. And I'm glad I'm not paying for it. I'm glad I'm not paying for a pull list because this would really screw up your finances.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets you involved in the book, and now we're probably not going to see one for another month, for another 4 weeks.
That's kind of what I thought. So, and I understand why they do this, particularly if you've got a book that starts a little slow like this one has. You need those first 3 issues to come out fairly quickly to grab the attention of the reader. Because if I had just read the first issue and it had been a month, I don't know if I would have come back to it. To give you an idea of what's going on in this book, you've got a team. Magneto's put together a team of kind of X-Men villains, but they're kind of not villains as much anymore. They kind of inhabit the gray area. And someone is killing all the mutant healers. And so they're attempting to save all the mutant healers for some purpose that I have yet to understand. So,
why are they saving them, or why are they killing them?
Why they're saving them?
Because somebody's killing them.
Well, yeah, that is Magneto's thing, isn't it? That they're mutants, and therefore, if someone wants to come after them, he's got to go through them.
But plus, they're hoping they can also save them from the Terrigen virus.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that you've got the Terrigen mist going around, almost killing a lot of mutants. And, of course, it's a whole ramp up to probably a big Inhuman mutant showdown. But I don't understand the motivation of who these people are and why they want to kill the healers. I guess they're pro-Inhuman.
No, this is a squad, and we both know I'm terrible with names here, but I believe this was formerly one of Sinister's hit teams.
Oh, is it?
And what they're doing now,
I didn't know Sinister had hit teams.
What they're doing now is trying to prove that they can prove themselves without him in charge.
Okay.
I'm reading.
Cool. Either way,
they're trying to prove that the team itself can do it without Mr. Sinister in charge. And forgive me for not knowing that that's Mr. And I just read the story notes real quick. It didn't have it in the story notes, but they're trying to prove that they can do it without their leader in charge, that the team itself can do it. And up until this issue, they've done a fairly good job.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the previous issue, they completed their mission, so to speak, despite what Magneto had in store. But this issue's interesting. They try to save another healer. This time, they are a little more successful in that endeavor. They go back to Genosha again, which is interesting. I'm interested in this story. And I'm interested in this team because you've got some morally ambiguous characters here that you could really do something with. there's a lot of room for character development.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this book. This is a good book.
I agree.
I'll tell you another book I enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
is this next book, which moving into the Avengers section, is Uncanny Avengers #5. Because I felt in the first 4 issues of Uncanny Avengers, they were kind of laying the foundation for what they were doing. And then at the end of issue 4, they kind of laid out a roadmap that their mission is to find the Red Skull, who still has Xavier's brain, and I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. Are they going to kill? Are they going to kill the Skull? Are they going to get his brain back? I don't know. But they set out to do that mission this issue, and it's really good. This is a really good book.
Yeah,
really
I enjoyed
issue.
it. Of course, they made a plot point of telling you that Cable's going to be around for a while, and then they have to stage a bank heist. So you've got a team. You've got Captain America's Avengers robbing a bank.
Yes.
And they run into an old friend along the way, or at least Rogue does. And they, it doesn't go quite as they'd planned. And there's a little bit of a twist at the end that I'm not going to get into, and I really can't say any more than that without spoiling it. But yeah, the first 4 issues of this book, I was kind of on. I was like, okay, I'm gonna, you got Deadpool, you got an interesting team, but I don't know if this story's any good.
Right.
Now that they've laid down a foundation, they've set a goal: find the Red Skull and get Professor Xavier's brain back. That to me is it's a compelling story. I'm interested to see where that goes.
And it really began moving that story along this issue. And Carlos Pachillos, and I may have butchered that name, his art was gorgeous in this issue.
Great art. It sure was.
The art on the last few pages, which we can't talk about without giving away the spoiler, was really good.
Yeah, Marvel overall is really killing it in the art game. I don't think there's any book out there that they're publishing that has bad art. It may not be art that I necessarily care for. It may not be a style of art that I like in particular, but you can guarantee that it's going to match the flavor of the book, like with those Squirrel Girl and Hellcat stuff with those books, and it's going to be really good art.
Right. I don't even like the worst X-Men ever, but it's a style of art that you can appreciate. I mean, it's not my style. It's not my favorite style, but it's a style of art that is drawn from Japan, and it's something you can appreciate, and something that someone is doing very well.
Right. And even if it's not your cup of tea, you understand and appreciate the quality of the art that's going on. And sure. That's across the board, everything they're publishing.
Absolutely.
Moving on to our general Marvel Universe books. You have Captain Marvel #2. The first issue was really good. The second issue, I think, is even better.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this book.
I am too, and we're only 2 issues in.
I enjoyed it that they finally found something to do with Alpha Flight,
mm-hmm.
and the original characters from Alpha Flight, Sasquatch and Puck and Aurora. That they finally found a place for those. They've got Agent Brand there. They're introducing some new characters. I'm really enjoying the supporting cast that they've put around Captain Marvel in this book. It's a good book. It's very good.
Right, and it's divided up well enough into action, so you get to see Carol Danvers, punch stuff, but you also get some of the, intergalactic political drama that I also enjoy.
And I was going to comment on that. There was a few years ago when they did the back when Hickman wrote the stories and they created the Avengers worlds. And what was that? Was that Infinity?
Mm,
I forget the name of that giant crossover. But
the Infinity War with the Builders and all that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
At that point, they took Earth and made it part of the entire universe, the galactic universe, so to speak. And DC's always done that. Earth has always been part of the DC greater galactic universe, and Marvel never has. With Marvel, it's always been okay. Earth is here, and like the heroes know everybody else is out there, but nobody else really does.
Right. Earth's like a backwater planet.
It's like a backwater planet. And now with what they're doing here in Captain Marvel and what they're doing with basically after the Secret Wars reboot, they're saying, no, it's not going to be like this anymore. And after that Infinity series, if that's what it's correctly called, after that series, Earth is staking its claim, and they're really doing it in this Captain Marvel series. Earth is staking its claim to saying, we're a galactic power. Rest of you just need to get over it.
Right. And especially now that the Kree are gone and the Skrull Empire is essentially in tatters, both of which are humans are responsible for in one form or another.
And you see that playing out both in Captain Marvel and in the Ultimates books. Mm-hmm. You see Earth taking a larger place in the Marvel Galactic Universe, and it's really enjoyable to see Marvel finally doing that.
Right, particularly for people like you, because you really like that cosmic level stuff that Marvel does.
Sure, I do enjoy that. Yeah.
So, but just to give you a brief synopsis of what goes on in this issue, they found that odd spaceship last issue. Well, this time they explore the spaceship. Yes, they open the spaceship and go into the ancient.
Does that ever end well for anyone?
That's what I was going to say. A group of people go into an abandoned spaceship, and it's dark, and it seems like everything in the spaceship is dead. No, of course that never ends well. They actually talk about it in the book. Carol thinks to herself, I've seen this movie before. I know what happens. Nothing good happens. And she's right. And we're not going to spoil it for you, but she's right. Nothing good happens.
Nope. Nothing good happened.
Moving on
great book. Very
it's really good. It's really good. Moving on to Contest of Champions number 5. This might not be the best thing that Marvel's publishing, but it's in the top 5.
It's really good.
That's the thing is like, it's a book to promote a video game, and it's some of the best story writing that Marvel has done in 20 years.
Brother, it was hard to make Night Thrasher cool in the late 80s and early 90s, and this book managed to do it in 2016.
In what? Maybe 3 panels?
A page at most.
Yeah, it takes them a page, and all of a sudden he's the smartest guy in the room. And oh, by the way, the maestro's standing over there. I mean, they make him really smart and really capable, and he becomes the leader of the team that he's on.
He always was, but he was just never written properly.
Right, because he has the skateboard gimmick. They actually call him Skateboard Sam in the book as a joke. Right. And
but he always had the armor. He always had the brains, and nobody ever wrote him properly. So he just never blossomed. And you take a decent writer, and in one page you've got a compelling character. One page. That's how well this book is written.
And you can say that about a lot of the characters that are being introduced in this series, because you do have a lot of new characters being introduced.
You've got new characters being introduced. You've got plot twist. This is a great book, man. This is a great book.
Plus, the art by Mark Del Mundo is really good. Real quick, give us a brief synopsis of what's going on for those who may not have been reading the first 4 issues.
Is it the Collector and the Games Master are fighting over pieces of what's left of Battle World, and I don't really understand it, but it's some kind of cosmic shards
Well, it's like
left over
a
from the destruction of the universe.
yeah, it's a and they're playing for
They're
some.
playing for pieces of it.
Well, yeah, but they're playing for cosmic power.
Yes,
Whichever
they're
one of
playing for
them.
cosmic power. Each one of them has a champion. One has the Maestro, and one has a Punisher from the Punisher 2099.
Yeah.
And they're each choosing heroes from different places and different times, different universes. Some of which you're familiar with, like the Sentry, some of which
Ares.
Ares, some of which are not. Like there's an Elektra there who at some point became Bullseye and killed Daredevil, and just dude, that's a bad character. I mean,
Yeah.
she is. You hope she sticks around. And then there's all kinds of plot twists because the Maestro ain't playing anybody's games but his own. So he doesn't care what the collector and the games master are doing. He's all he's trying to do is manipulate the situation so he winds up winning.
Right. And so what you have is essentially these cosmic beings grabbing these heroes from different timelines and universes, putting them on a team together and making them fight basically just as blood sport.
Yes.
And it's some of the most compelling writing Marvel's done in years.
A long time.
A long time. Yeah. And it's also what you want. It's all your favorite superheroes and the ones you didn't know you were your favorite superheroes punching each other in the face.
And they're creating new ones.
Yes.
It's great.
Absolutely. If you're not reading this book, do something else with your life.
Yeah. Deadpool and the Mercs for Money, #1. I really enjoyed this book. Did you read it?
No.
I know you're not a Deadpool guy, so you probably didn't.
I'm not. And like I said, I was crunched for time this week, so no.
Here's the thing. I can always count on you to read the Star Wars books, and you can always count on me to read the Deadpool books.
Yeah, see, I pick it because I know what you're going to read. So if there's stuff that I just don't have time to read, I cut that off.
Yeah, we're a team here, and we know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are.
Right.
Here's why I enjoyed this book was in the last Deadpool book, which that was a Deadpool 6. They took that turn, and I have no idea where they went or where they're going with that whole Deadpool 2099 thing. I don't know what they're doing there. But they took the Mercs for Money, and they took all these other characters, Stingray, Solo, the Fool Killer, all the characters that were working with him in the other Deadpool book, and gave them their own series, which is Deadpool and the Mercs for Money. Mm-hmm. And they're just running around. they're just running around being mercenaries. And of course, Stingray's never been a mercenary before, so he has issues with killing people, trying to decide whether or not they should kill that person or kill this person. And he's still there to spy on them for Steve Rogers. And then there's they're on a mission to recover what's essentially it looks like a coffin, but it's a giant case. And then they get to the place where they're exchanging for cash, and there's problems, so they don't get paid. So then they're stuck with the case, and they open the case, and you should read this book. Yeah, I'm telling you, because what's in the case is really interesting, and what happens with what's in the case is even more interesting. So It was a really good book. It was really good.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and read a couple things I didn't have a chance to read this week. So I will take your word for it.
It is. I can't remember what you call those things.
What things?
What was in the case?
Oh, don't tell me.
What if I can if I want to? They've been around Marvel for 40 years. And there was one that hung out with Hercules forever and one that hung out with Iron Man for a while. Anyway, it'll come to me eventually. Which brings us to Doctor Strange #5, which I guarantee was the first book you read.
It was not the first, but it was almost the first. What did you think of this book? Because you know what I thought of it, but what did you think?
It was good. It was good, It was good. It moved the plot along. I like what we're doing with the people who are coming to kill the magic and all the magic leaving the world. The problem I have is when a writer takes everything that's canon for a character for 50 years and rewrites it, which is what Jason Aaron is coming real close to doing here.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron?
Yeah, it's Jason Aaron. Yeah, you're right. He is he's changing a lot. But I think you have to. A lot of the stuff that's canon to Doctor Strange is older stuff. And some of it's honestly, a little silly and badly written.
And that's fine. And I get that. I do. And you know what? Honestly, a lot of it didn't sell. So if it didn't sell and this does, okay, I'm all for it. I just, again, I've been reading comics for 45 years. Okay, 45 years. So when you make these major changes to a character, when you start tinkering with them in issue 1, I'm like, okay. When you tinker them with them a little bit issue more, or more in issue 2, I'm like, all right. By the time you get to issue 5 or 6 or wherever, 5, and you're making wholesale changes, I'm like, man, come on, you know. But the book is selling. It's a great read. And I'm all for it. So, okay.
Right. And so sometimes you have to change these characters so that you can sell the books and make it a compelling character, which is what they're doing. This is furthering the storyline of this group of people who are not really people, but this group that is trying to kill all the magic. You get a little behind the scenes because they keep playing with this idea that magic is costly. Every time you cast a spell, it costs you something. And that when you're doing it on large scales, or you're doing large spells like what Doctor Strange does, and this gets touched on in the Scarlet Witch book too that we're going to talk about, there are consequences. And you see some of what that means in this book later on. I didn't feel like this was the best issue of the series so far, but it moved the story along, which is crucial. So yeah, I'm still 100% on board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and the art's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It's not my style of art, but it's good.
Well, it's Chris Bachalo, which he always does really good work on the X-Men too. He tends to do X-Men a lot.
Right.
Guardians of Infinity #3. I kind of like this book, but I don't really understand what's happening or where it's going.
I have no idea where it's going. I'm barely able to keep up with what's happening. I have no idea where it's going.
So, okay, explain it to me, because I've read all 3 issues and I just don't understand what's going on, really. I mean, I do and I don't.
You've got the Guardians of the 11th century.
Right.
1100 BC. You've got the Guardians of the 21st century. AD. Excuse me, AD, you're right. AD. You've got the Guardians of the 21st century, which are Rocket Raccoon and
right. The Guardians we all know and love.
Right. Then you've got the Guardians of the 31st century. Starhawk, Martin X, Charlie 27, those guys. And somehow they all get trapped on this space station at the same time. And the space station is not only a portal to other dimensions, but it's a portal through time where they all run into each other and they all wind up fighting the aliens who run the space station.
Okay. Yeah, all that I kind of understood, but I don't understand the point of it.
It gives you an excuse to bring all these Guardian teams together and have them fight people. To
what end?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, I think that's my problem with the book is it doesn't have any clear direction, and I'm not sure where it's going. So while I enjoy the book, because I like seeing all these other Guardians from other times, that's a interesting thing for me in any story. Anytime you get to see like Batman from the future, or Wonder Woman during World War I or whatever. I always think that's compelling, but I don't know. I'm not sure if, and I'm going to continue reading it for sure, but I just I don't know where it's going, and I would kind of like a little more direction.
Yeah, I have no idea where it's going, man. I don't know.
I don't know where the ride's going, but it's a fun ride in the meantime.
Yes.
Here's a book I really enjoyed: Howard the Duck #4.
Wasn't this fun?
Yeah, it's silly, but it's a lot of fun. This book in particular, issue #4, it's just a fun issue, like you said.
It's like they spent the first 2 or 3 issues putting all of these characters, and this is a bunch of characters, in place, from Galactus to 2 different Galactus heralds to the Guardians of the Galaxies to some Kree, and they're all chasing Howard the Duck, because as we discussed with his last issue, Howard the Duck came from what was essentially Weird World, and he's one of the nexus of realities, and everybody wants him. The Stranger wants him, the Collector wants him, now Galactus wants him. Everybody wants him because of not who he is, but what he is. And they're all converging at this place in space to get him, some to rescue him, some to capture him. At some point, he's endued with part of the power cosmic, so he becomes a silver Howard the Duck. It's hilarious. And at some point, somebody accidentally takes a shot at Galactus. I forget who.
It's one of the Kree spaceships that shows up. They're all there, and he just takes a shot at him, and he's like, "Did you just shoot Galactus?" Well, yeah. And then the Galactus kills all the spaceships.
Yeah,
it's really funny. And you've also got this lady who stole a piece of the Silver Surfer's power, and he shows up and he's kind of mad about it, and then she's just fangirling like, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a huge fan, I can't believe you're here, it's so nice to meet you." And he's just like, thanks.
Yeah, you really don't know what it means to be a herald of Galactus, and you really don't want to do this.
You're right.
Sure I do. Yeah, dude, this is a great book, man.
And Howard the Duck is like, "I don't even care that you all want to capture me. All you care about is this power cosmic. Don't you just see me for the duck that I am?" Nobody appreciates me. You all just want to use me.
This was just.
It's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It's really funny, and I've been on the fence about Howard the Duck, and I might be off the fence now. I think if it continues like this, I'm gonna keep reading this series.
This was just funny, man.
And this does not have overarching implications in the Marvel universe, because as far as we know, Galactus is a life bringer instead of a destroyer.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for deep thought, read Doctor Strange or Iron Man or one of the Avengers or X-Men. But if you're looking for something with deep thought, and this ain't it.
No, this is just silly fun.
Yes.
This would make an interesting Saturday morning cartoon, I think.
Yes. Yes, it would.
You could have Howard the Duck, but he runs into all these Marvel characters all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a good book. Be reading it.
Yes. Invincible Iron Man #6.
Also another really good book that I've enjoyed pretty much every issue of, this one included.
I really enjoyed this issue. What's Tony's girlfriend's name?
You would ask me that.
Anyway, they're at breakfast, and Dr. Doom just drags up a chair and joins them.
Yeah, just shows up in the diner they're in, pulls up a chair, and just, "Hey guys, what you doing?"
How you doing? The girl, as you said before, the girl starts fangirling out because she's having breakfast with Victor Von Doom. Tony's got his armor outside the window ready to shoot him. And, Victor's just kind of like, "Hey, I'm here. This is what you need to do with your research. By the way, Tony, you doing okay? You might be having problems with those demons we fought.
Amara is her name.
Amara. It's really good, and you don't have any idea where they're going with Doctor Doom. You don't. You just
Which I think
don't.
might be the most interesting thing happening in this book is that for those who haven't been keeping up, Doctor Doom's a good guy now, I guess, maybe. That's what they want us to believe anyway. And
Amara believes it. Tony doesn't buy it for a second.
Tony doesn't buy it for a second. Not for a second. Yeah, and so they're sitting there talking about her research at breakfast, and he's just like, "Yeah, you gotta move on to human trials." Oh, hey, by the way, Tony, how'd things work out after that last demon encounter that we had? And Tony's just like, "You need to leave, go away," and he's just like, "Listen, I just want to make sure everything's okay because sometimes demons follow up or whatever," and she's just sitting there like, I just had breakfast with Dr. Doom and Iron Man. What is my life?
Great book.
Yeah. Of course, he's got Rhodey on assignment doing research for him about those ninjas.
So that was a pretty good side story too.
Yeah, it was a nice little side plot. You got Rhodey doing reconnaissance work, and I'm not sure where that's going, but I'm interested. It's probably going to come back to the Hand or something. I don't know. But really, the star of this issue is the breakfast scenes with Doctor Doom and Iron Man and Dr. Amara. And yeah, it's entertaining. The art's good. The writing's good.
Bendis is writing it. I mean,
yeah.
You almost don't need to say anything else.
Yeah, that's really all you need to say because this is some of his best writing. And if you're a fan of Iron Man, it's a good book. Yeah. But to me, Doctor Doom's the star of this book.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
This is I hope this continues forever because this book's really good.
Nova number 4.
I missed this not because I didn't want to read it, but because I saw the cover and it looked like an old comic book cover and I thought it was something else.
What do you think? It was a Fantastic Four number 1 reprint?
No, I just was. Is that what that cover is?
Yes.
It's an homage to that. Okay. Yes. I guess because I recognized it, I was like, okay, that looks like an old comic book and something I'm not gonna read, and so I just moved on. So why don't you go ahead and tell me about this, and I'm gonna skim through it real quick.
It is Miss Marvel, Miles Morales, and Nova fighting the Mole Man and the Mole Man's son. And Nova is determined to fight them. And Miss Marvel and Spider-Man, Miles Morales, are saying, hey, we need to make a tactical retreat here and go get some real Avengers. And Nova's, for whatever reason, feels that he is capable of handling the situation.
He wants to show out for Miss Marvel.
I think it's more than that. I think it's I think he's got some daddy issues going on, and
he wants to prove himself.
He wants to prove himself to his daddy, and that he's capable of being a Nova. And he's got a lot of issues going on, and it just doesn't end well. And then there's other there's other daddy issues because you got the Mole Man there, and he's having father-son issues with his son, and this is not the greatest Nova book ever. This series is not the greatest Nova series ever.
Well, and you're inclined to not like it so much because it's the teenagers.
Not really. The last series with Sam Alexander was pretty good, but this one, they got this whole thing going on with him and his dad, and they're just. I don't feel like they're moving the story far enough along with Nova, and they're fixated on him and his dad. And they're just kind of, I don't know, man. Maybe his dad will show up in issue 5, which he's going to, because they, at the end they said his dad will be back in issue 5, and they can resolve that, and we can move on to something more. Because I think there's lots of possibilities with Sam Alexander as Nova. They're just not doing it. I mean, in the last series, they had him fight, I think, the Red Hulk. They had him. He fought Thor at one point. He did some really cool stuff in the previous series with Sam Alexander, not Richard Rider, Sam Alexander, and it was very enjoyable. This series, since Secret Wars, is just they're having trouble. I feel they're having trouble finding their footing because they're wrestling with he and his dad, and I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and I see at the end he kind of throws a little bit of a teenage hissy fit in his room.
Yeah.
Because he gets home from being a superhero and he's tired, and he glances over at his desk and realizes he hasn't done any of his schoolwork.
Yeah, and his mom's not home. And anyway.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue to read it and see how it goes.
Yes.
You know what I might not continue reading? Rocket Raccoon and Groot number 3.
Okay, do you...
Actually, I think this is number 2, isn't it?
This is number 2. Do you understand what's happening in this book?
Barely.
I put 3 on the notes. That's why you're confused. My apologies.
I barely understand what's happening. Somehow Rocket and Groot got separated, and they thought Rocket was dead, and somebody carved a map into Groot, and he keeps having to carve it into himself to remember, and he's trying to find Rocket, and he does, but Rocket isn't Rocket anymore, and I don't know, man.
I don't either. I don't know who that Rocket is over there in that alternate universe. I don't know if that's the real Rocket, if that's another Rocket from another dimension. I don't even know. And you know what the best part is? I don't care.
And it's crazy because a guy by the name of Scotty Young is writing this. He's typically an artist that does a lot of work for Marvel, and his art is great. And I understand he wants to stretch his legs by writing. I don't know if this book, I don't know who this book's appealing to. If you like this book, please send us an email, drop us a line, and tell me what we're missing, because I just don't understand it.
These are 2 of my favorite characters. I dare say our favorite characters. And
right, yeah.
This ain't cutting it, man. This is just...
And I'll hang on for issue 3, because maybe it'll go somewhere, but right now I'm just not enjoying it.
Not at all.
The story doesn't make any sense. The writing's weird, and it's a weird story to be telling with Rocket and Groot.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Scarlet Witch number 3, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me what you thought of this.
I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying the Scarlet Witch book more than I thought I would, because
Me too.
They're really fleshing out Wanda Maximoff as a character and a person, and I'm really enjoying where this is going. She goes to Ireland because there's some problems there, and she tries to solve the magical problems there. We're seeing the Emerald King?
Warlock.
The Emerald Warlock. We're seeing more of him in this issue. I thought they really advanced it well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically what you've got is Magic CSI with Wanda Maximoff is what's going on. And it's really good. And of course you got Agatha Harkness there, advising her or just offering color commentary or whatever. But I think they're setting up for the Emerald Warlock and Wanda to oppose one another. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's building.
And it's also dealing with some of the issues that are going on with magic in the world, much like with Doctor Strange, and also with that Iron Man book.
Yeah,
you've got a mysticism storyline happening, and it's kind of taking place in those 3 books.
Yes.
So, and the art is also very good with Scarlet Witch.
Yes, all those things are true.
Yes. And real quick before we get to the Visions, we forgot one Spider-Man book. We forgot Spidey number 2.
Oh, I didn't forget it. I left it out intentionally. You didn't read my last note. That's one of those stupid cartoon books.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. I've read both issues. It's not tied into anything.
What
They're
is it tied into?
It's not tied into anything. They're just telling Peter Parker stories. It's literally Uncle Ben died a few months ago. He just became Spider-Man, and in this issue, he fights the Lizard. It is your classic Spider-Man stories. Now, they're not bad. In fact, I kind of like them, but I don't know. I don't know what universe this is happening in, which is what makes you think it's tied into another thing. But as best I can tell, it's not a digital comic. It's not tied into one of their other series. I don't know what's going on, but you're getting old Peter. They're not old Peter Parker stories. They're new ones, but they're using the old formula from the 60s. It's not bad. The art's good too, but I'm just a little confused about where this is taking place.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have an idea. This is probably one of those books that's written specifically for kids, but it's rated as a teen book. So I don't know, man.
That might be the case. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's not bad. If you like that old Spider-Man stuff, that classic Spider-Man feel, read it. It's good. Now, to the book that we've all been wanting to talk about, Visions number 4.
It's actually singular. It's Vision.
Vision number 4. Sorry.
This book is every time this book comes up, we struggle to find words to talk about it. Not because of how bad it is, but because of the magnificent storytelling and character development and plot development that is going on inside this series.
Yeah, we were talking about Contest of Champions being in the top 5 of the stuff that Marvel's publishing these days. This book is easily number 1 in that list by a mile, in my opinion.
By a long mile.
Yeah. It's the best thing that Marvel's publishing right now. But the reason for that is because it's like nothing they've ever published. This book it captures something that you kind of only ever find in independent comic books, which and I think is a lot of the appeal of independent comic books. It doesn't feel like a superhero story. So to give you an idea of what's been going on, if you haven't been reading it, and if you haven't been reading it, you're an idiot. The Vision deactivated his emotional chip some time ago. He then, as part of his job as the Avengers, he's the Avengers liaison to the White House. So he's living in, what is it, Virginia?
Yes.
So
somewhere in rural Washington D.C.
Well, it's the suburbs.
Yes.
It's him, but he's also created an android wife and android children for himself. And their whole thing behind this is they want to assimilate with humanity and become more in touch with humanity, become like humanity. And things are not going well. You had in the end of the first issue or second issue, you had what was the guy's name?
Yeah, the Grim Reaper came.
Yeah, the Grim Reaper shows up and stabs one of the kids in the stomach and tries to kill the other one, and that was a whole traumatic event.
And the Grim Reaper is tied to the Vision. It's very long. It's very long and convoluted. But the Grim Reaper and Simon Williams, their brain patterns are what runs the Vision's brain.
Right, and Simon Williams is the brother to the Grim Reaper. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. If you don't know who Simon Williams is, just Google it. read the wiki. We'd spend a half an hour trying to explain it. You also had a little bit of an altercation with the Vision children at school. I forget exactly what happened, but the Viv, who is the female teenage Vision, she's paired up with a partner for a science project. It kind of goes awry. The boy, is it Vin?
Vin, yes.
Yeah, Vin gets into a fight with somebody, which puts the parent on the defense, which is what we see happen later in this book. That we won't spoil the ending for you, but it's got a very surreal feeling to this book. It is both very surreal and familiar at the same time. It captures this idea that we have all felt like outsiders. We've all felt like the weird part of the group, or that we don't fit. But it also explores this family dynamic that we all understand. And watching androids do this is
Creepy.
It's creepy, and it does weird things with your brain. And there's some the events that take place in this book, particularly at the very end. I can only imagine what the implications are going to be.
Yes, this is. I'm trying to. This is like if you ever watch a movie, not a slasher movie, Carnage. When you read Carnage, it's like a slasher horror movie. This is like a very, very sophisticated thriller where it's like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Most of you are probably too young to know who Alfred Hitchcock is, but it's one of those things where there's not a 100 dead bodies racked up in the corner, but there are horrifying things happening, and what's happening is everything looks normal, and then out of the blue something horrifying happens, and it's so out of the blue and it's so out of character for the people that you've just seen. That's where the horror comes from, because you're thinking
your brain can't process it.
These people are normal. These people shouldn't be doing this, but it happens anyway. And you understand their reasons for doing it, and you see why they're doing it. And that doesn't justify it, but you understand why it happened, and you're like, wow, this is really scary.
It's got this surreal feeling. Like you said, Alfred Hitchcock, I always compare it to like the Twilight Zone. If any of you are familiar with the writings of H.P. Lovecraft, it's got that kind of feel to it. It's scary and thrilling in a really compelling way that just makes you want to keep turning the page. And not to mention the art's fantastic. This is a limited series, isn't it?
It's going to end with issue 12, yes. So it is a limited series.
And I'm so sad about that, because they could write this forever and I would read it forever.
It's one of those things. I don't know how it goes on forever.
That too. I don't think you could keep this up. But here's the thing. Also, there's an interesting point to be made when you take, big time Avengers and give them their own solo book for a short period of time. You give them 12 issues or 6 issues or whatever until one really compelling story with them. Marvel's done that a couple times here recently in the last few years, and it's always worked out. If you're only reading one book that Marvel's putting out, it needs to be this one.
Yes.
If you're a fan of indie comic books, and how you ended up listening to this podcast, I don't know, but this is what you need to read, because it can, if you read the letters page at the end of this issue, and this is the only comic I think I've ever read the letters page to, you keep hearing the same thing. I'm not a big fan of the Vision, but holy crap, this book is so good. And that ending, I read it this morning, and you see it coming, and it still just punches you in the chest.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and it still shocks you.
Right, like you're turning the page going, oh no, oh no, oh no, and it still just blows you away. And
yes.
Dude, this book is the best thing Marvel's written in 20 years. Maybe ever.
I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, but man, it's so good. Anyway, we'll quit hyping Vision so much, but man, it's you got to be reading it. You just got to be. Anyway, to round things out, we're going to move over to the Star Wars corner of the Marvel Universe now, with Obi-Wan and Anakin #2. Did you read this?
I did.
Okay, what'd you think?
It's an entertaining little book.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like 12-year-old Anakin. He's having some doubts about the Order. He and Obi-Wan are dispatched to a planet they receive a distress signal. And what they find there is a planet that's been, there was some sort of disaster, and you've got these two groups of people, some who live below the ground and some who live in the sky, and they both blame each other for the catastrophe, and they all hate each other. And the point is for Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin to bring them together to survive. And it's kind of been a slow start, but I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's getting there.
Yeah, I think issue 3 you'll have something interesting finally, and you get to see a little bit more of the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. You get to see some of his early training that you really didn't see in the movies, and you realize that his doubt about the Jedi have been there for a very long time, and it makes you understand, or it gives you a better picture anyway, of why he made the decisions that he made later in life.
Yes. Yeah, it's an interesting book. Had a good ending. Kind of left you with a little cliffhanger there at the end. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. All of the Star Wars stuff is good. I haven't disliked any of it. So that does it for our current books this week. But we're going to talk about our classic read of the week, and we kind of had an Iron Fist book dump. It was Iron Fist from like the 90s, wasn't it?
Yes. No. I am looking up dates. I wasn't zoning out during the Star Wars section.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at dates on both my iPad and my phone, so I could confirm with you what I was saying. This is a really cool Iron Fist dump, because this is the entire Iron Fist series from 1975 to 1977, issues 1 through 15. Now, there are a couple of things that are interesting about it. Now, why are we getting Iron Fist? Because you've got Netflix doing the Defenders, and you've got Iron Fist. I think we got our snippet of an Iron Fist teaser a couple of weeks ago at Comic-Con. But here's what's interesting. If you look down there, the group of writers that did this are some guys by the name of Claremont, Byrne, and Cockrum. Now, if those names sound familiar, the dates of these books precede their X books by about 6 months. These are the books that they started writing, where they kind of started perfecting their craft before they did Uncanny X-Men Giant Size #1 and Uncanny X-Men 94. Chris Claremont had done some freelance stuff with Marvel. Then he was given this Iron Fist assignment. Then he was given the Uncanny assignment. So this is definitely 70s style comics. I mean, don't get me wrong. The clothes, the hair, 70s style comic. But it's also classic Claremont. To go further, it's classic John Byrne. If you're familiar with Byrne's work from the 70s and 80s and even 90s, the stuff he did on Fantastic Four, the stuff he did in some of the X-Men books, this is where he started. And in Fist #14 here is the first appearance of Sabretooth, the classic Wolverine villain. Claremont and Byrne created him here in Iron Fist number 14. Not in any of the X-Men books or not in Uncanny 214. That's not his first appearance. His first appearance is here in this Iron Fist book number 14. This is a great series of books. It's not the best stuff because of the time period, but it's some great writing and some great art. It really is.
Cool, dude. Yeah, if you wanna check out John Byrne and Chris Claremont doing their thing before they became X-Men famous, there you go.
Yes. That's it.
So that's our classic read of the week. What was your favorite book this week?
It's a toss-up, but I'm going to say Howard the Duck number 4.
Really?
Really.
It surprised you.
Really enjoyed that book that much. Now, the Uncanny Avengers was close. Might have because of the last 3 or 4 pages, but that Howard the Duck book was really entertaining. Howard the Duck number 4 was so good. It made me want to go back and read 1, 2, and 3 so I can understand who all the characters are again.
Okay, cool. Gonna have to go with the Vision number 4 for me. We just talked about it, so I won't go on about it. But I don't know, man.
That's an easy choice. I mean, you could always.
I know, but it was the standout book this week for me. If I had to choose another one, since that's kind of a cheat, I'll say Contest of Champions number 5.
Iron Man was very close too.
Yeah, Iron Man was really good too. And it's so funny because you really don't have any action going on. You have a little bit at the end with Rhodey, but it's really not anything. It's all just exposition and dialogue, but it's really compelling, which I think is what Bendis is great at.
Yes.
Yep. Well, fantastic. I think that pretty much wraps us up for the week. You can email us if you want to get in touch with us at 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. That's the number 6monthsbehind@gmail.com. What is the website?
The website is www.six6monthsbehind.com.
Check the website out for interesting, at the very least, you can get a list of what we're doing each week. Also, you get a couple think pieces from Pat occasionally.
Yes.
Until next time, though, do you have any parting wisdom for our listeners?
If I haven't said it before, I know I haven't said it recently. It is never too late to have a happy childhood.
I can agree with that. And on that note, see you next week.
Peace.